Okay. Let's see about tonight. All right. First, let's get this part set up while people show up. Doop doop. All right, let's start with hey guys, what's going on? I'm typing. I'll be there. Let's do and all right. There, that'll get us started. And let me change this over to live so I see everything that's coming in. And, oh, that's working. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's up? Okay. Here we are, finally. Let me move the microphone here so that it's there and pick me up a little bit better. I don't think the sound on this stream has really ever been necessarily an issue, whether the mic is over there or over here, but like moving it here makes me feel more secure, I think, more than anything else, so I keep doing it. All right. So, that's up. We've added a lot, if I'm being perfectly honest, to the show. Not just because of the con and the pickup, but there were 2 other pickups that haven't even been mentioned that were also added to the show. So, yeah. This is actually, I wouldn't say that we're overdone. Like, it's actually been worse. We've been more piled up with history before, but we might actually need to start doing a couple standalone videos to get certain figures opened that just simply do not get votes. But we'll get to that as we get to that. Right now, we're just kind of going to let it ride. And for right now, speaking of which, let me check this out because yeah, so we'll just, I don't know exactly how long to give this because people are still kind of showing up and whatnot. We'll figure it out. The reviews are piling up. That 100% is no joke. We've got quite a bit of figures that came in and quite a bit that have been added from old stuff. Cuz like, okay, one of the things is that you know that the way that the show works, I don't necessarily review all new stuff. We just kind of talk about the toys that I happen to have come across at whatever time I happen to come across them that end up in the show, and then we vote, and then it's kind of like a toy podcast where we just kind of talk toys and events and fandom and, you know, life and stuff like that. And because of that, some of these get kind of wild. Like I've got, I have a Figma that's like really old that was added to the show that like we've never opened. I have an Iron Man that we've never opened. I have a couple of G.I. Joes from like probably around the 4th or 5th time I ever really bought Joes that are still sitting here. So I know some of the stuff does not get votes with the current crowd that shows up, but I still got to get episodes and whatnot to talk about things, so we're going to figure that out as we go. But that's pretty much the gist of it. Let's see, Bill, you getting the Stan Sakai turtles that are coming? Not so far. I don't know what it's going to take to put another set of turtles on my shelf. I really don't. Like, I have the van, I have the Playmates. I have the 2013 guys. They're Playmates, but I have them, and I've never necessarily been unhappy with them. In fact, they're right there. I actually put them on top of my van. I have a set of black and white turtles, which are comic book based, but they were just so cool that I chose the black and white blue, black and white red, blue, black and white orange, because that's the way they are. They kind of remind me of like Sin City, like if they were in Sin City and they were using that art style, and that intrigued me, so I added those turtles to the shelf. And then I have a set of the movie turtles, and then I have a set of my all-time favorite turtles, which are the remakes or remasters of the Ninja Turtles that I grew up with as a kid. And that puts me in a weird situation where, like, I know there's a lot more out there. And there's some really solid stuff out there. But solid stuff that I need? I don't know. That's tough. It's real tough to say that there's, like, turtles that I still need. It's not I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take for them to show me something that then makes me want to put turtles on the shelf. Now, that's not to say that I'm not done with what I currently have either. I wouldn't mind getting the Super 7 silver armor shredder. I think that he would be pretty cool from Ultimates. But Ultimates is a tough line. It's a tough line because, hey, back up. It's a tough line because of what it takes to get that. I guess that's the best way I could say it. It's a lot of money to put those, but I still need a Master Splinter. I'm debating on whether or not I want the flocked one. I would love to have at least one Foot Soldier, a set of Mousers. It would be cool to have Bebop and Rocksteady, the silver armor shredder, and a Splinter, like I said, a Metalhead, April O'Neil, a Casey, and then the last thing that I'm probably interested in, Slash. Slash was like my favorite bad guy when I was growing up. Not that I really understood Slash a whole bunch. I'd read some of the comics and I had a general understanding. I'd read some of the Archie stuff for what it was worth, like the adventures, and I'd watched all of the series. But like that turtle was so cool that it just blew me away. Like it really did. It just blew me away. And he was like my favorite bad guy. I used him all the time. So I would love to have like an updated version of him just for the sake of remembering playing toys and whatnot and how that like affected me and what that was for me. So like it's kind of rough. There's still a lot that I want, but what I want is like $60, $70 a pop, and that's a hard hit when there's other things every week anymore. Let's see, found out more about the articulation on Maximum Thor, dumbbell in the torso, ball joint at the waist, drop down hips, not boot swivel at the calves. Really? That part kind of surprises me. I will say last night, or not, yeah, actually, yes, last night, I went back to the con because I have a couple of vendors there that I actually talk to. Like, I know the guys. And when I was there, I was talking to one of them, and I went over to one of the other booths, and I actually found the old Thor that they released from this line, the one that this is an update to. And he wasn't a bad figure. But this just has it beat. Like, it really does. I also have the Loyal Subjects Zombie Turtles. I didn't even know that was a thing. Hey, what's going on, man? Thank you again. Thank you. That's wild, man. Every time. Let's see. Big Bad Toy Store has the blimp for pre-order. Really? It is not on the home page. There is... Oh, wow. Wait a second. What is that? It is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Yeah, they have a lot of stuff, actually. That blimp is one of the few things I've really thought about in terms of old figures that, like, would be really cool. Because, like, I used to love that blimp, man. I used to love the idea of the blimp. It'd be cool to hang it up. And then oh, that's interesting. That might be... I don't want to order an entire wave of something to get him, though. But I also see that they're releasing an Usagi Yojimbo. That's another thing I wouldn't mind owning as an Usagi, because I really, really, really liked him when I was growing up. But, oh, for the ad? Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Thoughts on the red Suya? I think that's clever. I do like how he takes his irritation and he turns it into like something positive, something fun. I think that's fantastic about Mad Hatter. I gave my thoughts on it. I don't know if they were out of line. I get that it's petty. I will not argue that. I will 100% agree with anybody that thinks it's petty. It is. And there's another argument where people are saying, hey, if you know, the Conan estate, the Robert E. Howard estate has had no issues with the fact that, you know, over and over and over again we keep seeing Conan knockoffs show up, then Red Sonja should be the same. But I would also tell you that Red Sonja, for as popular as she is, lives in the shadow. Like, any little thing that she gets, she kind of needs. That's a real thing. She doesn't quite sit there on the bounds of Conan the Barbarian where a million things can come out that are all, you know, different things, but definitely tributes to Conan, and people are still going, that's Conan. Like, Red Sonja exists in this middle ground where she is well known, and she is a icon, but not a cultural icon. She's not a pop culture icon. In fact, most of what they know about her anymore, like, comes from a terrible movie or people complaining that she wears the chainmail bikini. And, like, that's kind of true. And most people don't know the comic, and most people don't really know much about her in general, except that they love her fan art, and that's about it. And it's... now she's kind of branching out, and she's getting these, like, first steps into, like, what could become a pop culture reference. She's got a very good movie. She's got solid figures coming out. She's got a new book where they're trying to return back to basics, from what I understand. And now this tribute comes out. And the tribute that came out hit in a way... look, they chose 2 redhead sculpts, not 1. You probably could have got the argument had they just done the 3 head sculpts and each was a different hair color. They didn't do that. They did 4, and 2 of them were a redhead. And the only one that got the face paint, the only one, was the redhead. And it just so happens that they were using bikini armor. And it just so happens that every one of the promotional images that they used with those redhead figures, with the redhead sculpt, was to put her in a position that made her look like Red Sonja. They, like... and we just got done with the movie, and the comic book has been out for a long time, and then the other the action comic that came out for it a while back, that's all Queen of Plagues. That's what that makeup is. So they've really leaned hard into that being a definitive Red Sonja icon look. And that is specifically what the four horsemen were banking on. They were going to sell this figure by using an image of Red Sonja to hype people up. And well, regardless of how we think about that, because this is our hobby, it is kind of wrong. Like, that's wrong. That's using something else and then stepping on that something else to sell your something. You used it as a platform to boost your stuff. And regardless of how we feel about it, that is kind of wrong. That's unethical business to begin with, because even if you are going to say, yeah, it's a tribute happening at a very strange time when everything is aligning to push your stuff to the forefront and forget the thing that is. It's a little tough. It's a little tough. Maybe had the armor been different. In fact, I'll bet you they couldn't have made the argument had the armor been different. But it feels like they knew what they were doing, and the owners of the Red Sonja licensing and whatnot also knew exactly what they were doing. And if they want to profit off the Red Sonja imagery, so that's tough. It really is. I'm not saying I actually have the answer, because at the same time, I started this whole thing by saying exactly what I honestly believe as well. This is petty. This is some petty crap that they came out like that and said this, where they probably could have used this as a pivot point for their own stuff. It wouldn't have been all that impossible for them to say, hey, the Four Horsemen got a redhead, but we have the original. And then put that out and then kind of boosted the sale of the next toy and said, you bought the imitation, now buy the real thing. They probably could have used it as a pivot point instead of bringing all this negative publicity onto them, which also is not necessarily a good idea right now while you're trying to make the waves that you're trying to make. This is not going to do them any favors. I absolutely believe it's not going to help them in the long run. But I do also believe if we were to just put on business hats, not fan hats, but business hats, Four Horsemen were in the wrong. They probably didn't even consult with the Red Sonja holders to say, hey, this is kind of what we have in mind. How far can we take this without jumping, without stepping on your toes? They didn't do that. It is an unethical business practice, regardless of how cool it would have been for us fans. And it's not like the figure is dead. They didn't destroy the figure. It's just that you won't get the redhead now. And I would ask you an honest question. If you wanted the redhead that bad, say that was now the figure is less appealing to you because it won't have the redhead and it won't have the cool war paint redhead, did you really want that figure? Or did you want a Red Sonja? And that's where your mind was. And now you're mad that the redhead won't be there. Maybe just go get a Red Sonja. It's tough. It is a tough argument to have. But there. It just kept messing up. Okay. Oh my. Let's see. We have this. And then what else is sitting around here? Oh my gosh. There. We also have, oh, you know what? Sure. May as well, right? And lastly, you know what? Why not? Oh! Okay. I did it. I did it like I was typing like an old guy that couldn't type anymore, but I did it. Boy. Okay. Found out that the McFarlane Hellboy won't be priced like the Elite figures are currently. The long coat Hellboy will be the standard release everywhere, and the right hand of Doom Hellboy will be the chase. Ooh. I'm glad I'm not going after that. I love everybody else that's about to get it, but I'm glad I'm not chasing it down, because every time I hear chase, it terrifies me. Like, oh, I'm not getting that. Like, let's see. Oh, I did hear that. Yeah, that there's a new, yes, a Stan Sakai Usagi figure coming. An Usagi figure would be really cool. I would like to have an Usagi figure. Maybe NECA's the way to go. I mean, NECA's pretty good. Let's see. I saw that Hellboy. What if they just gave us the heads and give the right owners a small percentage of sales? I mean, they already made the heads. And see, that's just it. But they didn't. And that's where these things are now getting complicated. I don't disagree with that. And they did say we're going to get the heads. They said that they're going to give us the heads, but it's not going to come with that figure, probably because of the way that this all played out. And probably, I'm willing to bet money that, because they have to have a legal team. There's no way they don't. And I'll bet you their legal team said, we don't want this smoke. Like, I'm positive. Because other businesses, and let's be honest, Red Sonja is, you've seen how long and how difficult it was for them to guarantee and put out a movie. And even when they put out that movie, it was not a AAA movie. It was just a decent movie. That should tell you something. Red Sonja is not sitting here with the greatest lawyers in the industry. They don't have Hasbro money. They're not backed by, they're not backed by Disney or something like that. They don't have that kind of power. So if Four Horsemen's legal team said, we don't want this smoke, get rid of the heads, that's what I would advise. And they did that. The heads are not the problem. It's the heads with everything else that's the problem, that they were like, I don't know if we can argue this. I'm positive, regardless of whether they put out a statement or not, they have to have a legal team. And a legal team on either side, if they thought that this was, Red Sonja blowing smoke, oh, that's BS. They can't stop us from, it's not Red Sonja. It's a completely different thing. We have other heads and blah, blah, blah. You know what? Let them sue us and we'll take their legal fees and back them into a corner. A lawyer knowing exactly what fight he can fight is a lawyer knowing what fight he can fight. And they chose not to have this fight. That has to say something. It really does. They chose not to have this fight. I mean, regardless of how you or me or anybody else sees it, there's a business at play here, and that business does have a lawyer team. I'm positive of it. But they said that they're going to be releasing those heads with something else. This could be a character pack. This could be a random pack where they put out a couple different heads and a couple different armor pieces and whatnot. Or they could just literally, like I said, they could just choose a different character with a different armor set, release that head, and nothing can be said about it. Nothing can be said about it, because now we've basically pulled away and 40% of the figure is our own design and the other 60% is an inspiration, and that's enough to get away with it. But like, I'm telling you, even if you look at the movie covers for the new movie and see the way that the new armor is on Red Sonja, and you'll see what they were doing. And especially if you look up some of the movie clips and you see like the fact that she was doing the dark red hair and the makeup from the plagues, like there's no way that's an accident. The timing is too spot on. They knew what they were doing. They knew. Just got the charge and email for my pre-order on Warbird Ms. Marvel yesterday. Can't wait. I did not. I did get the notice that she's coming in. So I imagine that mine is right around the corner, just like yours. And I'm very much looking forward to having Warbird, because that was one of those things that I missed out on. So can we take a second here and give a thumbs up? Can we do that? And I'm not kidding. Can we? Because everybody wants to crap on everything, especially Marvel Legends. They can't wait to come in and talk about how it's behind and it needs to be this, and they do this wrong, and they're just gouging money and blah, 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 and their pre-orders are bad and yada, yada. I missed this. I did not get the Warbird. I missed the timetable, and it was basically one of those things that I was like, oh well, crap. Guess I'm not getting a Warbird. And then they were like, hey, but we have the other Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel, and I don't want those. When I think of Captain Marvel or Ms. Marvel, camera, calm down. Camera, calm down. Back up. The only thing I think about, camera, back up. I'm talking here. Hey, this camera is not listening to me at all. You hear? It literally. Hey, back up. Whatever. Keep following me. So look, I'm serious here. We see re-releases happen with Marvel Legends. Like another chance to actually own the figure that you missed out on. And it happens lately quite a bit. Like, let's be honest here. Like this, they put... Back up. Come on. I cannot get this camera to listen to me. Go away. Look, I got to do the Captain Kirk thing. Back up. I did have to do the Captain Kirk thing to get it to back up. Camera, you and me are going to fight, man. I'm going to have to turn you off. No, they re-released her. Like the Power Princess. I've seen her come back up into pre-orders and whatnot. We've seen plenty of a lot of the 2-packs and whatnot come back into pre-orders. We saw things like the Ghost Rider come back into pre-order. Like, you gotta hand it to them that it seems like there's a real chance to get Marvel Legends. More so than some other figure lines that, like, once they're done... McFarlane especially. McFarlane seems to release a figure. One run, one wave, it's done. Good luck, we're done. And if you didn't get it, you're going to have to wait for a recolor, but you're not going to get that original figure. Like, it just doesn't happen. Marvel, you seem to have a real shot to pick up something that you missed. We are looking at... Okay, that's interesting. So, okay. We're still at 7 minutes. We'll give it a little bit longer. Stone Cold Bill Logan. Mic drop from Bill. Had a chat with one of the designers for the made-to-order X-Men 97 Apocalypse. Really? That's awesome. Said that it has a ball joint at the waist and torso. Told me he can't wait for me to get it in hand. That was awesome. I don't know when it's coming out. It's kind of pushed into the back of my mind. But I'm looking forward to it as well. So far, these made-to-orders have been so good. Like, I'm very much looking forward to where this goes. Hey, would you ever have a segment where you send, where we send you some pics of our collection, best pieces, and you pick some that you haven't seen or really like and show them off on the show and give your thoughts? That might be interesting, believe it or not. Like, that does actually kind of that sounds different. It sounds different. It sounds neat because, like, you never see something like that where, like, you're like, oh, you know, well, what do you guys have? What is it? What are the pieces that stand out in your collections and things like that? That is kind of interesting because really that's a big part of what we do. And yeah, I never thought about that. That sounds kind of interesting. Casting spells or throwing gang signs. I voted for the Black Widow. It's our time to shine. We have because we're entering the 10-minute now. We have 6 votes. We probably only have about 6 people honestly voting. We have 9 people hanging out, but that doesn't mean that we always get 9 votes. That's not the way that this always pans out. Some people are literally just listening. Some people are like doing other things or whatnot, and they just kind of have it on in the background while they cook and stuff. You're not always going to get all the votes, but that's the reason I try to give it the 10 minutes. The 10 minutes just passed, so we have Black Widow and Agent Anti-Venom that won. And so that's going to leave it up to me. And because so far she is simply not getting chosen, I want to see this. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to do Black Widow on this one. Let's, in fact, you know what? Just for the sake of, let's go ahead and dive right into it. No waiting on this one. Black Widow. That's right. That's the back. That's the back of the case right there, but you know what it is. That's Black Widow. Black Widow, specifically the gray look. Now, I know, and I also have the other look before we even get into this conversation. I have it. I know it's classic. I know people love it. I'm not telling you it's not. But when I picture the Black Widow, and I don't know 100% why this is, it could be because I had this book. I also remember when she very much donned this look and cut that hair. I remember that. I remember when she was dating Daredevil. And I remember this look being the definitive look for a while in the books. When I think of Black Widow, even though everybody thinks of her in the classic black, and I get that, this is where my mind's eye always goes and makes the most sense. Now, I didn't say that I preferred her like this. I said that's where my mind always goes. Black Widow makes a lot of sense not to wear straight black because, for one, straight black doesn't actually hide you in the night. That's actually proven. You'll actually stand out in the darkness being too dark. I know that sounds weird, but there's actually been, not, we'll call them studies. There have been proven things with different operations and stuff like that where they found out that like straight 100% black will kind of make you stand out in a shadow. You kind of want to fade into it. A gray that catches the light and kind of casts around and whatnot may catch the shadows better. It kind of makes a little sense for her because she'd have that kind of idea. And if she's fighting close quarters and she's trained the way she is, she's probably not a long hair girl. Realistically, I'm not saying that you don't see it a lot, but you see long hair more often in fighting competitions with girls where their hair is not a hindrance. That's a big part of it. Their hair is not a hindrance. There are rules. In real fighting, anything on top of your head is the other person's weapon. Watch street fight videos and see how often it ends up with somebody's hand in somebody's hair. It especially if you're talking about people that fight a very specific way. Like, hair is kind of a hindrance in an idea like that. So it's always been interesting to me that she had short hair, she wore gray. I feel like she shadow blended probably a little better realistically like that. And I also like the full bodysuit. I think that makes a lot of sense for the kind of thing that she is. I liked this look more than when she started wearing the jacket. I have the jacket look. She's up there. She's like right back there. So I do have the jacket look. But when I heard that they were releasing this, I got very excited because I like the idea of her having the jacket off. I think that just kind of works better. There are a lot of different things that kind of feed into why I would prefer this one in terms of my mind's eye. But if I had to pick a favorite look, it isn't this look. And we'll get to my favorite look when I unbox the other one, because I do have it. This is going to be my first time experiencing this body mold on this figure, Black Widow. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I have already seen this body design, probably except for the up torso right here. That's probably different. But I feel like I've gotten a couple characters that have pretty much used this now, this new super articulated body design. So it's not going to feel like brand new to me. It won't be the same impact that a lot of other people had when they bought the Black Widow, and like she was literally what I've mentioned before with, like, I've talked about Psylocke back there, and I've called her a line killer. One of those things that comes out and then you start questioning the rest of the line and go, oh, no. How come all of a sudden the next female character can't move, yada yada? Like, why are we doing that? Like, she was a line killer. She was one of those things that all of a sudden, like, Marvel Legends kind of got in trouble. Now every single one of the female characters that's been released afterwards, we are asking the question, how come this one is just the straight torso again? We're done with the straight torso thing. Like, now we're starting to ask that question, and we need to. We need to, because they've proven that this body exists, the articulation is here, they need to be using it. Let's open her. All right, so we got a comic book. What am I doing with these when I'm getting these? That's a fair question, right? Because now we are starting to collect these, like, dumb little comic book things, and they don't really serve much purpose. Like, what are we really going to do with these? I have been adding these to J. Jonah Jameson's office. That's exactly what I'm doing with these. That's where they go. They're going to Jonah's office. Otherwise, we have the smoking, I don't know what you would call them. They're not really like just normal smoke, because they're like an orange that goes into like a darker red, which I actually like that color quite a bit. And then we got the same blast effect things that we've gotten on like 5 of these. And then, of course, we have expression hands. And then, strangely enough, she came with a fist and a grip hand. That does confuse me a little bit. Is there a reason we didn't get 2 fists and 2 grip hands? And is there a reason, and maybe it's because of the time, she doesn't come with a single trigger finger hand? Is that weird? I'm asking a real question because I'm trying to remember this time in comic books. And I'm trying to come up with, I feel like I remember a lot of her comics with her not having guns. Was that a thing at the time that they were like keeping her away from guns? I know now it's not that uncommon constantly to see her with a sniper rifle or the 2 handguns or something like that, which works for her character, makes a lot of sense. But I'm remembering, I think for a long time she really did just use punches, kicks, and those blasts. Like, it may actually make a lot of sense that this version doesn't come with any guns or any hand to use said guns. But my mind could be playing tricks. I'm not 100% on that one. Otherwise, I love the fact that on this figure, we can actually see that spider. That was actually always a really cool thing. And when she put on the coat, she got rid of this spider. I like the fact that we can actually see it. She has a lot of movement. It's not just like I could tell exactly why people were so excited. I almost think, in all honesty, though, is there a reason that we don't have, say, is there a reason we still don't have toes on these characters? Like even like the girls? I guess we can look, we can argue for what we want or whatever, but like we also got to be realistic about certain things. Like we can get something like this going on real easy. Like that's wild movement that she could take. And all of this, does she move as well as the other one? Does anybody know if she has less or more or the same articulation as the other one? Because she feels good. And I'm wondering how deep these... That's not terrible. That's not terrible on the butterflies. And then, of course, going back. Oh, man, she could do that fall. That's cool. Now, what about the face? Is that a solid face? Ooh, wow. Ooh, she looks great. Because of the way that my show is, I'm sure everybody's already seen this. Because you know how my show goes. We're really just like opening and having discussions. But that is a really good head sculpt. I do have a question about the head sculpt. Is this a new head sculpt? Or is it one of the three that we already got in the other one? I don't have these answers. I have not opened the other one. I have it, but she has never got voted on. She's never been on the show. We've never had a chance to talk about her. And so I am curious because I know that she comes with 3 heads. And I feel like the red hair is a little darker here than I feel like it was, at least in pictures, from the other one. I can't tell you the differences in these. I do not have that ability, but I can tell you that if you like Black Widow, I also like this zipper. I know that's weird that I just pivoted right to that, but like they do a good job of the color separation, and the zipper is actually sculpted right here. That's a piece that is actually standing out on the figure. It's not just like how do I put it? It's not painted on. It's not painted. That's actually a sculpted part. That's cool. The spider is painted on. Collarbone is pretty defined. I like this too, where it goes up here and there's a decent enough separation in color to where you could tell the zipper is on that side but not on this side. Like, oh no, it's on both. But I think it's more defined on this side. Either that or the light is just hitting it in a very specific way. Either way, this is phenomenal. This is how they should all be by this point. Every single one of them. There is no reason to make figures, the female figures at this point, without utilizing this new body design. And I realize that means we may have to wait for certain figures. Certain female figures might be at a point she does not have drop-down hips as far as I can tell. Certain figures we might be waiting for a while they go, oh, well, that's a bigger body. We're going to have to get a couple more of these jumpsuit ladies out there before we ever worry about that. You know what? Okay. But it's about time that we started waiting a little bit and making sure that every one of these characters is solid, especially right now, because they are starting to cost in a way that's starting to make it a little more difficult to justify running out to get these. Like, we are at this point now where we're going, oh man, yeah, but I don't know. These are like $40 a figure. And I wish I was exaggerating, but some of these are coming in at like $34 plus surcharge plus everything else. And then, of course, with shipping and handling and whatnot, you're paying $40 for a Marvel Legend, sometimes more. That's a pretty big hit. And that's a lot to take when some of the figures feel like they were made back in, I don't know, 2016. It's not okay anymore. It's not going to be okay anymore. We're getting to the point where if they have to release less, charge a little more, but make them count, that's the way we should go. Like, if that's what we got to do for a while we ride this out, then that's what we got to do. But that's what they have to do. Because otherwise, they're going to start losing sales, because it's not just me that's starting to go, do I need that upgrade? Do I need that upgrade? We're seeing that with almost every release now. And if you look back, a lot of these releases, it used to be a no-brainer. Hey, new figure, I'm gonna get it. That's pretty much it. There were all these guys that were buying every single Marvel Legend because they were cheap and it didn't really matter. And they were like, I don't really know this guy. I don't know anything about this guy, but I got this guy. Good for you. Now we're not seeing that as much. We're only seeing it from like giant toy tubers that's kind of their job. If the common buyer starts to drop off, they will need to make decisions. And some of those decisions will be more calculated 2-packs that make a lot more sense and guarantee the buys, and guaranteeing that each figure is just standout enough or interesting enough that it warrants the upgrade. Interesting times are coming if we're continuing the path that we are currently on. We'll see. Let's get another thing here. Bam. Okay. And that is going to take us to... I don't know where he went. I'll track him down later. Oh. All right, let's see. Will you be getting the giant Krang from NECA? I think it's bigger than the Sentinel. I'm 100% sure it's big. I'm not 100% sure for sure it's bigger, but it looked bigger. I don't think so. Because I bought the Sentinel and I only have the space I have, a giant Krang would be a lot. It would be cool, but it would be a lot. Like, to fit another giant in here. It's a different head sculpt than the 3 that come with the Target exclusive Black Widow. Cool. That's awesome. That's what I'm starting to notice too. Marvel Legends would sell out within a couple of minutes, and while some particular characters do, I've noticed they stay stocked up for months. Right. Let's see here. We're going to switch that. And right now we're at a 50-50 split. Marvel Legends, Iron Spider, Aaron Davis. Is that the black and silver one? Is that what we're talking about right now? I don't actually know 100% if that's what we're talking about right now. I'm kind of looking. Let's see. Oh yeah. That's the one. That is what you were. It's the yeah. No, I'm not. I do think it looks cool, and I think the color scheme hits, but I'm going to be honest, one of the biggest things that kept me away from it, I don't know what it is. like sorry, not I keep saying black and silver. It is black and gold, but I don't know what it is. Like I don't remember that in the comic books that I've read. It doesn't like, aside from being really cool looking, it doesn't necessarily strike a nerve. It doesn't make me go, oh, I don't have that Spider-Man. It's true, I don't, but I also don't know that Spider-Man, which kind of affects the way that, like, because you'll notice I do, for as big of a spider putz as I am, I pass on a lot of Spider-Man, while at the same time I get a lot of Spider-Man. I'm kind of like a half and half kind of situation. Like, you could tell that I buy a lot of them, but if you've been paying a lot of attention as well, there's a lot of them that I don't pick up. Like, they'll do a wave and they'll do, like, you know, there'll be 2 or 3 Spider-Man here and there. And if it's already something that I basically have covered, or it's not a suit that I remember liking or whatever, it doesn't really do anything for me. So I will pass on it. And this guy, he looks cool. But like, just like Spider-Side looks cool too. But I didn't get Spider-Side. I don't necessarily, I didn't hate that storyline where he goes off and he becomes an assassin and he wears the different costume and everything like that. That's a fine, it was fine, and he looks kind of cool, but like, that was not a story that like resonated with me. It didn't make me go, oh man, Spider-Man would have been so cool if he would have just been. But you know what they could get me on? They could get me, not on Spider-Side, but I wouldn't mind having the Flash Thompson Spider-Man in the What If where Flash became Spider-Man. That storyline is pretty cool. Things like that. So like, they can get me on a lot of stuff when it comes to Spider-Man, but like, that one didn't get me. All I really find myself doing is, when did that happen? That's kind of neat. And that's about it. So no, I did pass on him. While I'm a bit bummed out, there is no spinning Mjolnir. I think people are getting out of hand with the nitpicking on Maximum Thor, which we knew we were going to see. We knew we were going to see it. I just like missed the armrest and just did this. We knew we were going to see that. Because so far, and I don't know if it's just something about the way the Maximum line rubs people the wrong way. It's people are not used to or okay with the idea that the budget line, because that's kind of what Marvel Legends has been for years. It's been, hey, I want action figures, but I don't have $1,000. Oh, well, Marvel Legends is accessible. It's got a ridiculous selection, and it's pretty cheap, and it's a decent quality for the price that you're going to pay. I think you'd like it. And then people, you know, they jump in Marvel Legends, and it becomes an easy thing for them. They can keep up with it. It doesn't break their bank. It used to cost them only about $100 to get a whole wave, maybe $120, and then they would get an extra guy, or they would get an extra guy. I'm not the guy to have that conversation with, by the way. I never believed in Build-A-Figures from the beginning. I always knew, because toys are a business, that we were paying for that free figure. It was psychological. It always had been. It was an idea, hey, we'll charge them $25 a guy, but then we'll claim that at the end they get a free guy. That's baked into the line. He's not a free guy. We paid for it. And we paid for it doubly by having to buy characters we didn't even want to get that free guy, which makes him doubly not free. I don't want the guy that I have to pay. It's not a thing for me. I've never been sucked in by that whole thing. I am more interested in a deluxe guy. I'm that person. I don't want to buy Juggernaut by putting him together in a wave of 6 guys, and 3 or at least 2 of those guys are guys I don't even want on my shelf to begin with, so they're literally going directly into plastic bags to be sold, and they'll never be sold at a good price because they're not complete, and people don't want them because they're not complete, and I have a whole new headache on my hands. I'm not that person. I don't believe in the Build-A-Figure crap. But now you have the Maximum line. And this is where you see a major separation between me and certain other collectors. Certain other collectors, and I'm not saying they're wrong, they see something like, I would rather buy that big abomination up there for 40 or 60 bucks. I would rather buy Dragon Man and just buy him. I'd rather buy a giant juggernaut. I'd rather buy a Hulk, a deluxe Hulk that pretty much gets him on my shelf and gets him out of the way. That makes more sense to me money-wise. I'm fine with that. I'm on board with that. I'll spend that money. I'll do it. And I'll get the one figure one time that I want without having to build it. Now, Maximum is asking everybody to put aside their original idea, Build-A-Figures and budget line, and spend money on a overpriced deluxe. Because I will go ahead and still call them out a little bit. Let's be honest as to what it is. They put Maximum on it, and they do charge a little bit extra. They're claiming that they're making it worth it, and there's possible argument here and there every now and then, sure. But let us at least be honest with the situation like I have been so far. Why did I buy that Hulk? Because he was the cheapest option for me, and I liked him. It really is that simple. Why did I buy that Spider-Man? Well, you know why I bought that Spider-Man. Because it was basically a McFarlane Spider-Man, and I'm a putz. But I did not buy that. I did not buy that Deadpool. I have no interest in a Deadpool. I'm not putting Deadpool on my shelf. I don't care about him. So, like, it didn't bother me the same way that it's bothering other people. Now, I don't have a Thor. This is a good one. I do still think, like you, we should have got the spinning Mjolnir, but we didn't. But I'm also not complaining about it because he's a large dude that probably would have been packaged as a deluxe anyway, and they probably would have cost me $40 or $45 at minimum. It's not going to bother me like it will other people, but I do see where their argument falls. And I think a big part of that argument is that you are now being asked by a line that has never identified itself as an expensive line to pay an expensive value. And it is, for what it's worth, an expensive value. A $60 figure is a $60 figure. And it does need to be scrutinized at a $60 figure level. When they release one of these and it doesn't do well and it is kind of garbage, we need to ask questions as to why. Is there some reason that we can buy a 2-pack of figures and the figure in the 2-pack is better than the Maximum figure that was released? So far, that has not happened, arguably. Arguably, you could probably make an argument for that Psylocke, but I don't know. And I didn't buy the Deadpool, so I can't make that argument. And I know people are kind of mad about that Hulk, but mine hasn't broke yet and hasn't given me any problems yet. So, like, I'm not having the same issue other people have, so maybe that's the reason it doesn't bother me the way that it does other people. I understand the anger around the line. I do. I get why people are so picky about this Maximum thing. But at the same time, for a collector like me that just wants to buy one Hulk or one Thor and doesn't want to buy all the extra garbage that goes with it, like I don't want to try to hunt one down in a 2-pack where it gives me a guy that I don't even want, or I buy the Thor, but then he's also packaged with like a leg of another guy that I might want because they want me to build Beta Ray Bill, and I want Beta Ray Bill, and I also want a Thor, so I get a Thor, and then I get a Beta Ray Bill, and then they're like, by the way, there's 4 guys in this line that you don't know and don't care about. Buy them too. I don't want to do that. I would rather pay $60 for the one guy I want than $150 for the 3 guys I don't want to make the 2 guys I do want. I'm not that guy. So Maximum doesn't bother me like it does other people. It's just not a problem for me. yeah, people are going to crap on the Maximum Series line and then end up buying them anyway. And they will too. That's a thing also, is pay attention to all these people that complain about the Maximum line. Watch them complain, gripe, and moan, and put it all out there. Oh, this is terrible. They're screwing us and blah, blah, blah. And I hate them. Don't buy this Maximum profit. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to buy it, and then they're going to review it on their YouTube, and then they're going to make an excuse as to why they bought it, because they had to, that's their job or whatever. They bought it to prove a point. No, you didn't. You didn't. I'm sorry. If you have nothing good to say about it, and your actual recommendation is don't buy it, this will screw us, take a page out of your own book. When he comes out, I should not see you doing a review. I should see you doing a video about how the people that bought it have put us in this situation. And you should not be part of that equation if you honestly believe this crap you're spewing. But that's not how it's going to happen. We know that. We all know that by this point. Facts, I've already busted a couple of collectors who were crapping on it, but then turned around and said, well, I'll pick it up and see what it's about. Yeah, exactly. Sure you will. Sure you will. Okay, well, let's get this. Okay, let me move this mic over a little bit. I have a couple of these. I have... I may have spelt that wrong. And if I did, we'll see. We'll see anyway. Let me get rid of that. There. And then, what are you? Oh, that's right. There. This is the worst possible time. Did I just lose it? I don't think I did. I think I just lost. Nope, there I am. Okay, I'm still here. Okay. The worst possible time, but for some reason my computer right now, that's what was happening for a second there. We were starting to have like some troubles. Let me get rid of that. I gotta bring this back out. My computer decided at that exact moment that now was the time to do an update on something. And it was like, it was throwing everything out of whack. So let's fix that. And then make sure that that's actually working. Nope. Okay, hold on. Because now I've got to fix that. It's okay. Shouldn't be that big of a problem. Hold on. Now let's see if I got that. Did I fix everything? I fixed everything. Okay. What a pain. For some reason, it started running an update in the background, like a download, like an automatic download, and it was really starting to mess with everything, and I was watching it like, what is happening? And then I seen it on my toolbar. But it seems like everything is set now. We're here. It says live. It says good. Our connection is excellent. Okay, everything's running. That was weird. I don't know why it happened. But yeah, here we are. Here we are. Very weird. Very weird. Yeah. Yeah, see how stupid that is? Like, I'm gonna stick it to this toy company. I'm gonna crap all over their toy and tell everybody not to get it because all they're doing is screwing us with this toy, and this Maximum line is absolute garbage. By the way, I spent a whole bunch of money on that Maximum line, so they're definitely making another one. Yeah, you're a real hero. I bought this figure just to review and crap all over it, just to make a point. Like, really? Right. Who are you fooling? Who are you fooling? Now, it's one thing to call things out when things don't work. It happens, okay? It happens. Sometimes a figure releases and the figure is trash, okay? It does happen. It does happen. And woe is to the figure that comes out from Maximum that turns out to be trash. Because, ooh, will there be a lot of people talking about that right now. The Maximum line, regardless of how many people you can find complaining about it, it's doing numbers, and everything it's put out is passable. I wouldn't call them masterpieces necessarily. You could make some arguments on that Spider-Man. Regardless of the fact that he's not my choice Spider-Man on my shelf, he could be the best one they've ever done. And you could make the argument for that. I don't know about that Deadpool. That Hulk is a solid Hulk, regardless of how people have had problems with it. Mine has not had a problem. And as long as mine continues to not have a problem, and even after the fact, maybe if it does have a problem down the road, I doubt that I'll have a big enough problem down the road for it to be a big problem, is what I'm saying. Like, I doubt that I'll reach a point where I'm like, oh, it's trash, because I've had one problem like a year and a half after buying it. Some figures we take that chance. Like, I could go over the shelf and I could talk about figures that have given me problems in the aftermath. They exist. Name a couple. Just to name a couple, okay? Some figures that have given me problems after the fact. Not that one, she's beautiful. But the Emma Frost before her, I bought it. I talked about it. I had some good things to say about it and was happy about certain aspects. And she died on me fast to the point where she is not on the shelf at all anymore. That Silver Surfer right there, the female Silver Surfer, I have noticed that she has one major flaw. Her feet. I don't know what is going on, but it only took about maybe 2 weeks for the hole in the foot to give way. So the fact that she doesn't really stay on the board the way I would want her to, and her feet don't have a lot of stability. Like she leans very easily. Like they don't hold in place. So you put her down and she like leans, and then you try to move her and she leans, and then like her foot won't stay on the peg because the peg isn't like big enough to really hold the foot in place. Like, she's giving me problems. Do I hate her? No. But every figure has the possibility of problems in the aftermath. Every single one of them. And you don't know exactly if you've got like a bum wrist or you've got that weird bubblegum plastic leg that gives you a real problem as things go on and stuff like that. Or if you got like the screwed up like sticky joint where the arm always keeps getting stuck, or a jacket is like in the way and like you figure out later that you can't get what you want or whatever because the jacket just won't move with you. There are problems with figures. And sometimes we don't figure them out until the aftermath. I bought a Superman that I really, really liked. I really liked him. I have a good review on him and everything. I talked about him on the show. I loved him. But he had a scale problem. And I realized that with McFarlane, a lot of characters have a scale problem. There's a lot of people that are not happy with the scale of the McFarlane line. I'm not here to argue that. I am here to tell you that for the most part, the scale, while it is wrong, has not generally been enough to bother me. Case in point, I have a Robin there, and he should not be as big as Batman, but he is. But if I handle the posing right, it doesn't really come off as a big deal. If I keep him bent over for the most part and kind of use him, turn him to the side and allow Batman to stand more forward and brawl the cape out and everything, it's not something you'll tend to notice or be bothered by. It's not really an issue. Like, you see him there, standing there, and Superman is obviously, like, bigger than him, and he's, like, that doesn't really bother me. And as long as I'm standing him next to a girl and I have a guy next to him that's a little bit bigger than he is, it seems like it scales out right. A lot of this is not really that big of a problem. But I had the Action Comics Superman. And he was built on the old Superman body. And it was very, very noticeable. I started realizing that every time I put him next to anybody, they were bigger than him. He was like a midget. He was a tiny Superman. I don't want my Superman to scale small. That was a problem for me. A lot of people had a big problem with Power Girl. She's too big. And I've heard that actually with that Wonder Woman that I want. You know, the Wonder Woman that I complain about all the time. I'm still complaining about it. That Wonder Woman specifically, I've heard people say she's too big. She's like a real problem. Then give her to me. I want her. But like, that wouldn't bother me at all. In fact, I don't care if Wonder Woman stands as tall or a little bit taller than Superman, because in some continuities, in some comic writers, she is taller than Superman. So get over it. I'm sorry that your scale is not perfect comic accurate, but we all have our little things with action figures, and that one kind of hit me. That Superman scaled a little funny, and it was bugging me. He was too small. It was too small. It was bothering me. I couldn't take it. Sometimes I get bothered by my Barry Allen. I get it. I get it. But Barry almost seems too pleasant. Like, I can use him to stand around other heroes and stuff like that for the most part. But my Barry Allen has like this face where he's just kind of always like, I'm a superhero. It bothers me. It bothers me. And I have trouble posing him and putting him alongside. Like, he's supposed to be fighting the Reverse Flash, and his face is just in a constant, perpetual state of superhero over here. Like, it really bugs me. I don't know why we didn't get more than one head sculpt. I can't use it. It really bugs me. Have I gotten rid of him? No. I did get the Flash that I want, though, so we'll talk about that at some point. But, like, I'm just saying, figures, you never know exactly how they're going to end up. But I am very sorry that some people had that happen with their Hulk. But, like, mine is not giving me a problem. I could go on and on if you want the truth of it. I'm sure that there's, because I have a couple of figures. And with that comes a lot of chances for figures to be problematic. Bruce Banner is a problem. The Bruce that came with my Gray Hulk, he will not stand up. His feet are stupid. He just won't do it. I have to lean him against the Hulk or like bolt his foot to like a stand or something to get him to stand up. He will not do it. Drives me crazy. But this is all part of the game. I've collected figures long enough to know that this is all part of the game. It's not a deal breaker. It doesn't make me go, I'm never buying another McFarlane because my Superman was small. Calm down. It's not why we do this. You will experience problems here and there. Not everything will be the best figure you ever bought. Not everything could be dumb-faced Skeletor, okay? Not everything holds that level of greatness. sometimes you get a dud. And sometimes you don't realize it's a dud until after the excitement of that moment passes. Does that make it less important? No, not necessarily. Sometimes that excitement that you have for it can actually push it to a point where you see the problems, but they don't bother you. And that's important. It kind of helps you to realize that you're on the right track with what you've collected. Because when you're on that point where the only thing you can do is be hypercritical and hate everything you have, why are you doing this? Maybe this isn't your hobby anymore. Maybe it's become something else. I have a video. It's called Hobby Hate. You can go watch it. I talk all about this little phenomenon we have about hating the thing that we love and then sticking to it when really at that point you're probably done. You've probably lost the meaning to what it is you were doing in the first place. But Jessica Cruz, I did not expect to get this at all. I thought the ship had sailed on this one and I was screwed. There are still a couple of lanterns I need, but I'm done. That's the best way I can explain it. I love the Green Lanterns. I even have a video on here specifically talking about why Green Lantern is my favorite. I have a couple of favorites. I'm not like locked into one person. Yes, you will hear me often say my favorite DC superhero is Wonder Woman. But you will also hear me talk about how my favorite character for many, many, many years when I was a kid was Superman. And you will hear me talk about my favorite Batmans. We all have different things that appeal to us at different times for different reasons. It's called growing up. It's something we all do. We all have different moments and different personalities at different times for different reasons, going through different things, and these characters relate to us during those times. And the Green Lantern is something that I like a lot, but I love the concept. I absolutely love the concept of the Green Lanterns. It's one of my favorite things ever in all of DC. And part of that, I really liked collecting a run of all the Green Lanterns that I know. The Earth Lanterns. Along with Kilowog, because you gotta have Kilowog in there. But I would have loved to have get a Tumar Ray. I would love to get a Tumar Ray. I don't have one. He would be cool. I know you can get one. I've seen him. He's a little more expensive now. He's kind of entered that $60, $70 bracket. Is that overkill? Yes and no. It's the best way I can put it. Look, when it comes to a lot of these figures, I've kind of had a rule that I go with a lot. Depending on the circumstance, sometimes I'm willing to pay the double price. It's not something I love to do, but I will do it. If that Wolverine is the absolute best Wolverine, and for whatever reason he has entered double price territory, and I really want him, I will justify, all right, fine, so I'm not buying 2 figures, I'm buying 1, but I'm getting the one I want. Same argument that we made, not but just a little while ago, the reason I bought the Hulk. The reason I sometimes don't mind the idea that a Maximum comes out and they're like, hey, here's a deluxe or a Maximum or a thing and it's going to cost a bit, but it's the one thing you actually want, then just give it to me. That's what I want. But once you move past that double price, and these are relatively $30 figures. Once you move past that double price, I think technically if you want to get super technical, we could argue they're more. I'm rating them as $30 figures. Once you enter into that area where they start costing 70, 80, 90, 100, I'm not buying it. You want to put him at 3 times his value? I don't need him anymore. I'll wait. This is a giant industry with hundreds of figures and hundreds more on the way. And sooner or later, I'll get something just as good, if not better. It will happen. Did you miss out on the last 5 Phoenixes? That sucks. Guess what? The newest one is easily the best one. Go get it. Like, I'm just saying. That's the way it hits sometimes. Well, I got all the Earth Lanterns now. And I got them all in classic lantern looks. That's fantastic. Like I said, still a couple more I wouldn't mind owning, but I think I'm done. I got Jessica. I only need Simon Baz. And I will more than likely be ordering him tomorrow. I found him on sale for $20. That will be it. I have the entire Earth Lantern team. There are still lantern things I want. I would love for them to sell us an Arculo. I would love to get a Sinestro. I don't have a Yellow Lantern Sinestro, and I would really love to have one. I heard they're going to be doing a classic Sinestro. I'm not too worried about that. That's fine, but I want that Yellow Lantern Sinestro. That's my mind pictures him as that is iconic. You know what I want? I want his daughter. That Soren Ignato. I want her. She would be cool. And you know what? I'll take her in either form. I'll take her in the Green Lantern or the Yellow Lantern form. Either one. I'm on board for it. I would love to have that one. It would be cool. See, I could go on. It would be cool to have like Hanu. You know how cool it would be to get a big rock guy? Big rock guy with the ring. He tells you, I don't really like relying on the ring. I like to rely on my own strength. And then when things really get bad, he tells you, leave the room. And you're like, excuse me? And he's like, I'm going to turn the ring on. And you're like, oh no. And he goes and punches, bow, and punches the anti-monitor. Like, that's a beast. What about we already said Soren Ignato. What about Saddam Yacht? Is he a Daxamite? He would be cool. He's basically like a Kryptonian with a ring. And speaking in which, there's a Superman and a Batman, a Green Lantern, that would be cool. Yellow Lantern Batman, that would be cool. There's so many other things that I want, sure, but they're all circumstantial at this point. The only thing I have left to get is Yellow Lantern Sinestro and Simon Baz. And really, if I never get another Lantern, it would be one of those situations where, it would be cool, but I don't care. I'm not stuck on it. I could go on and on with all the really cool stuff that we could get. Like, I am kind of mad that Atrocitus did not come with his cat. I realize he's a Build-A-Figure, but like, come on. Where's my cat? So like little things like that. But yes. 2 lanterns to go after this. 2. She, over time, the idea behind her, she is my favorite lantern. Kyle is my favorite lantern that there's ever been. And I would love to have a white lantern Kyle Rayner. Where's a white lantern? We still haven't got one of those that I know about. But anyways, her, however, she's right there. It depends on kind of my day, my state of mind, where I am. Those two kind of edge each other out because they're right there. They're right there. She is the definition of the Green Lantern. I think people misunderstand. They say, oh, the Green Lantern has no fear. That is not right. The Green Lantern overcomes great fear. They have the willpower to push forward regardless of how terrible the situation, how hard, how impossible the circumstance, or how terrifying the result of doing so may be. And she lives that every single day of her life. If you don't know the storyline, basically, her friends were murdered. She went through a horrible traumatic experience, which was made far, far worse when she locked herself away was completely paralyzed by fear of everyday life, that something was going to happen again, that this tragedy was just right outside her door, crippling true phobia, only to be made that much worse when the power ring found her and she basically became a supervillain, which was essentially talked down by Batman. Like, there's a whole beautiful scene where some stuff goes down and he kind of talks her down and she realizes what's going on. And she receives a green ring by overcoming some of the greatest fear. And then once she has the ring, even greater fear is that there's, at that current point in time, there is nobody to train her. She's kind of on her own in a whole new world with powers she doesn't understand in a situation she's not ready for. And you know what she does? She pushes forward because Green Lanterns have the willpower to overcome that fear. And in time, she gets a partner. It's kind of forced on her, but it does her a lot of good. And she gets a friend, and we got like a buddy cop story that kind of runs, and we have the Green Lanterns book out of it. And, you know, she evolved from that point and everything. I really, really, really enjoy her. And I think she has some of the greatest potential for some of the storytelling that Green Lantern does. Like, I really do. She's fantastic. She really, truly is. See how serious it is? That camera zoomed in because you need to know how serious it is. Back up. This figure looks beautiful. I'm telling you, she does. We'll be taking her out of here in a minute. I was at the convention. I expected not to get her. When GameStop put her up, and that's where she was exclusive to, she sold out in what felt like seconds. I don't have an actual time here. I know that she sold out fast enough that I got on my phone at lunch, signed in 2 minutes after her release, and she was gone. She was gone. And I checked back every single day up until about 2 days ago. Literally every day I was getting on my phone when I woke up, and I had the tab already open, and I'd be like, oh, GameStop, reload, not available. Okay. Just to check. You never know. Maybe somebody cancels their pre-order and I get lucky. That's what I was hoping for. I go to this convention. I have a rule at the convention. I do one lap around the convention. I look at everything. Then I start making my decisions. I broke that rule. For the first time in my convention-going life, I broke that rule. It is the first time I have ever done it. I did not do a whole lap. I got halfway, got to the back, was walking across the back, turned and looked, and she was right there. And I was like, oh, what? And then I grabbed her and took her off, and the thing behind her was not her. And the other pegs, and I was looking around, and I was like, there's not another one of these sitting here. Like, this is it. And I walked up, and the guy was like still getting his stuff ready. He was like still kind of setting his phone up and everything like that so he could take, cards and stuff. And I said, dude, there's no price tag on this thing. What does she go for? And I'm like really worried because I'm thinking that this guy's going to screw me. Because look at things that happen like with the Wonder Woman. Yes, we are still complaining about that Wonder Woman. We will forever. We'll complain about her forever. That Wonder Woman skyrocketed into like the 120 sphere. And I thought for sure that he was going to slam me on this. But he surprised me. He says, oh yeah, Jessica? No, she's going for 60 right now. But that's what he said. But he said, I've seen you at a couple of these, so I know that you're out hunting quite often. He said, I'll drop her to 50. You want to take a look around, see if there's anything else? I'll drop her to 50. And I was like, really? You'll do 50? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Sell me this. Like, you want to sell it to me for 50? Sell me this. Give it to me right now. I needs it. I got Jessica. I thought that she for sure would be the one I would not get. that she would be the thorn in my side that made sure that I never completed the lanterns. Like kind of Wonder Woman is the problem that I still have not completed a Justice League. That's right, we're still complaining about it. She looks fantastic. I don't have any reason to believe she won't be fantastic, but let's find out, shall we? Let's open this. So let's start with the obvious. These right here suck. Every time I hear that he's doing like a Page Puncher's friggin' figure, I go, why? Because these stupid things right here suck. I hate clamshells. I don't mind blister cards. Those are fine. I actually don't love, but will not necessarily complain about closed boxes. That's fine. But this stupid thing, I hate it. I can't stand it. They're hard to open. They're a pain in the butt. I don't like them. They're not fun. I can't stand them. Worst packaging that I could think of for toys is the clamshell. I do not like it. Part of this clamshell, though, see that in there? See that right there? You know what I'm going to say. You know, right? Green Lanterns fly. So, like, maybe, just maybe, a flight stand is in order, huh? Maybe? No? Yeah? No? Yes? Yes? No? Yes! Whatever. We got this stupid thing. I kind of get it, but, like, I really don't like this. Especially with, like, the girls. It doesn't clip onto their arm, which is a bit of a problem. And if you do clip it onto their leg, like, you can get it on there, but, like, what is this even doing? Like, do you feel the green energy from that? Do you feel like that's doing anything for... I think this effect is stupid. The best I've been able to get out of this effect is when the guys have big enough arms that you can get it on their arm, kind of like they're swinging, like they're doing like an uppercut or something like that, or they're coming down with somebody and you got that arc that comes off. That's kind of cool. But like, this is not the greatest effect and probably was never going to be good for her because she has a tiny female frame and it's just not that great. This is a fine effect. It doesn't do anything too extreme, but I noticed like when I first got one of these, I was like, oh, okay, so that like goes on the hand and it's the ring. And hey, you know what? That's very simple, but like that works for me. That's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm kind of into that concept. I don't mind that. I think that works. Otherwise, here she is, and let me get the focus on her. That face sculpt is tremendous. I mean, I'm not kidding. She looks fantastic. This is one of the best face sculpts I have seen in the line. I am not even kidding. I realize I just got her, and so there's a little bit here like a wow factor, but that is done very well. He does a pretty good job with face sculpts for the most part. Usually I can say, oh, that looks like a good Batman. That looks like a good whatever. But like, that looks really good. Like the skin tone and everything is really, really solid. The hair, it doesn't seem like it's getting in the way too much. It is a little bit of a problem, but that's not, I mean, look, she has a turn this way. She has a turn this way. The hair, you have to kind of make sure that if she is turned this way, she's kind of looking down, like maybe we've flown up and she's going to look down at something. That's fine. But look at that silhouette. That's a pretty solid. It's a very simple pose. Like, I'm not doing anything extreme here to get like a very simple pose out of her. She will not be looking up. That could be a problem. Like, you can't exactly recreate that. You could do something like this, but you can't really get her looking up and flying. You're not going to get that pose. Her hair is actually in the way. I don't have that problem myself. I'm sorry. I don't have that problem. I don't advise you get that problem. You look very good, so we're not going to put that on you. But I'm just saying, you know, there are benefits. That's what I'm saying. There are benefits, okay? My hair never gets in my way. Otherwise, you know what? Even some people hate it when I call it this, but like, what else is this exactly? This rubber thing that he puts here over the figure. Even the diaper isn't really that bad. Like, the suit is, of course, skin tight. She's a Green Lantern. I like this idea, though, more than, because like a lot of the Green Lanterns, they add a texture. I actually kind of like it when it's just this. When it's like, when there's no texture, when it's just a flat, I actually like that a lot. I prefer it, actually, when it's just that. The texture doesn't bug me. It doesn't take away anything, but I also don't think it necessarily adds anything. And just like some people, like I hear people complain sometimes that they're like, oh, well, that Spider-Man should have had that Spider-Man should, you know, he should have raised webbing or she'd have etched webbing or yada yada. Now they're just going to find a reason to, like, you know, paint him black and give us black suit Spider-Man or whatever and blah, blah, blah. And I hear you. I hear you. But I want to go a little out here for a second and say that while I do get it, Spider-Man in the comics does not have etched or raised webbing. His costume is as cheap can be. Cheaper than most any other superhero that you see that actually has some money. That suit is a Halloween costume. at best, if you were to see it in real life, those webs, they're not etched. They're just part of the stitching. Like, they're not... So, like, to me, when they do painted on webs on just a stock body, that's when Spider-Man actually looks correct. And for me, the Green Lanterns, if you're going to give me a Green Lantern, I would rather just have the green on a stock body than worry about all the texture crap. Like, that, it just doesn't do anything for a Green Lantern. Especially if you understand that the Green Lantern's costume, at least nowadays, like what I'm talking about, like relatively recent, not even recent. I can go back quite a bit with this one. The Green Lantern costume is created by the Ring. It is not something they put on. They don't hang it in their closet. Hal used to hang it in their closet. I understand that we can go very far back with comic books. Hal used to have an actual costume. That has not been a thing for a very, very long time. They create the power, they create the suit from the Ring. Which also means that if you woke up in the morning, got out of bed with your whanger still hanging out, and you equipped your costume, and then you flew off into the galaxy to fight crime, only to realize crime was pretty endurable today, and you ran out of stamina, and the Ring was like, hey man, I got like 0.7% on this ring, sorry, I'm shutting down, you're naked. Which has actually happened to a couple of characters. They have actually lost power and the suit goes away. And I think we've actually talked about this before. Because I had to talk about Guy Gardner and that actually happened to him. So, like, that happens. Unless you're reading her book... I actually complained about this where I was back when I was doing a lot more comic book reviews on this channel. I actually talked about the fact that in the Green Lantern's book, they don't seem to get the powers right. They just do random things and it kind of is irritating. Both her and Simon run out of power randomly and the rings go dead. And they still look like this. That happens in one of the books, and I remember being like, no, that's not the way that it works. Like, it's little dumb comic book nerd things. We get irritated at like small things that don't really matter, but we make them matter. If I have to say there's one problem with her, it's the legs they chose. I don't know if it comes through on camera. Oh, maybe it does. You see that? They're high boot legs. I think, I don't know for sure. I have a feeling most all of this character from the neck down is a repaint of Catwoman. I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling this is the Catwoman body. Like the Nowhere Land, the Azrael storyline. That era of that Catwoman, is she on the shelf right now? She is on the shelf right now, but where is she? Where are you hiding, Catwoman? No. Okay, she's behind that Superman. Not that you can even see her right now, but she's like behind that Superman. She's right there. That Catwoman right there, I'm pretty sure that is this body. I have a feeling, because those are the boots right there. And I'm pretty sure I'm looking at some of the areas. And also, I see that they decided to put the markings for the character stuff right there, for the toy company stuff on her back. I think that's the Catwoman body. However, because we already know that toys are major reuse, and because that face sculpt is real good, and because of the way I feel about their painting and everything, I don't think it bothers me at all. She should have had a flight stand. And you know what? You could have went the extra mile on this one. I'm just saying, you could have done that flight stand in translucent green, and that would have been sick. But you didn't, did you? Leave it to Uncle Todd to come down here and ruin Christmas, only giving you half your present, huh? Huh? No, it doesn't bother me that bad. This fantastic figure, I'm very happy to put her on the shelf, which leaves me only two more lanterns to track down. We talked about it. Once I got those two, I am set. I'm set. At that point, I'm done. Like, there's nothing left to track down, and I will have those two lanterns by the end of the week. So I'm done. I've actually finished something. And how often, doing what we do we reach a point where we go, I'm happy. Like, it's done. I don't need anything else. Kind of like we started at the very start when I argued about turtles. I get these two lanterns, and that's pretty much going to be it for me. Not in terms of all of McFarlane, but you get the idea. Added to the shelf, very pleased. Let's see. Well, except for She-Ra. That one She-Ra last year, that one we don't speak of, it was a dark day for Bill and all She-Ra fans. I saw a couple of reviews after I put out that She-Ra where people were praising her. Like, they were loving that figure. Oh man, this has got to be the coolest She-Ra that we've got in the line. What? What? Like, what? Your collection doesn't have to be my collection. It shouldn't be my collection. This is my stuff. It represents me. It's a museum to my likes, my interests. Me. It's not you. It should never be you. We're not going to agree on everything, and we shouldn't. That's part of what makes this unique and interesting, is that my stuff will always look different than your stuff. It will. I cherry pick everything, and I imagine for the most part, other people, aside from like somebody that really wants a completionist thing, they do Joe's, like, your collection will represent something about you. It will talk about the cherry-picked stuff that you have been interested in. Our collections will always look different. But how can you take that She-Ra and compare it to the other She-Ra in the line and say, with all seriousness, that She-Ra is the best one we've got? How can you do it? Like, I don't understand. That is one of the worst figures. One of the biggest disappointments I ever opened. Ever. Literally ever. Like, it blows my mind how bad that figure was. She went directly to the sales table. Seems that releasing Barbarian figures has been slow, with Zesray and Savage Crucible having few to no updates so far. That Blackstone Conan figure is still nowhere to be found, too. That's not just me? Dude, thank you for saying that. Because I'm telling you, I have sat here for a while now and said to myself, I ordered that. Like, I actually got to a point where I asked myself, did I order that Conan? Like, because I started to worry. I haven't seen him. And I haven't got a notice or anything. I haven't seen the pictures. This is what made me ask the question. I saw the pictures where they have boxes and boxes and boxes of that Conan, and they have the Conan figures sitting on top of the boxes, and they're like, and the post said shipping, and I was like, oh yeah. Then a week went by, and another week went by, and I went, oh no. Did I screw up? Gotta get on my phone and search my stuff. No, I did. What happened? Like it is nowhere to be found. What happened to it? Like, I'm really curious. I'm really curious what happened. They ran into some kind of shipping problem. I don't know if all the stuff that's been going on kind of messed with the sales, and then it ended up costing more to do the shipping than they initially planned, and then they had to like pull back and like stop something, or like, I'm really curious what happened, because man, it feels like he was supposed to be here a long time ago. In fact, Donahue or whatever, didn't he already go over the entire figure? Like, literally, we have like a full 100% in-hand look at that figure. And I think Pixel Dan also went over the preview like a long time ago. I don't know where it is. But at least I'm not alone in saying, where is it? Like, you get your Wonder Woman when you fix this damn door. Let's see. Rehobby hate. Some people make a career out of it. You'll always see the same people online complain on everything about their hobby, and they're the type of people that I avoid at all costs. I try here not to throw shade. In terms of direct names, you get the idea. I will say things like, hey, I see people that do this. I see people that do that. I don't agree with this or whatever. But there are a couple of YouTubers that have hit me like that. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to maintain, I haven't done it before, I'm not going to do it now because somebody may like these specific creators. But there are a couple that I used to watch that then I slowly started noticing, not that their channel got negative. It's not like it happened over time. Like, oh man, I watched some of your stuff and then like, I don't know what happened, but you got really negative. I started kind of realizing that I signed on to a couple of these people because they had like one or two videos that I was watching that I was like, oh, I love this. And then I started realizing that like, then we'd go 4 or 5 videos with them just complaining. Then we do one more that maybe had something that was like, oh, cool. They're going to talk about this and they love this and yada, yada. And then we go like 5, 6 videos of all just them hating everything. I had to step away from those channels. I completely understand what you're talking about. Because once you get to the point where your whole YouTube is just you complaining about what you like, I don't have time for that. My life is complicated enough with work and things of that nature for me to fill it with you constantly hating everything that I love. I just don't have time for it. Jon Stewart is my favorite because of Justice League, the animated series, and Justice League vs. the Fatal Five has Jessica Cruz and Miss Martian in the Bruce Timm style, and it was pretty cool. I'm tagging that back in my head. I saw all of Justice League, and I've seen a ridiculous amount of the animated movies. I don't know if I've seen that Fatal Five. I'm going to look that up. I have a feeling I haven't seen that movie because like it's not ringing a bell. I think that's one of the animateds I have not seen. hair getting in the way is a problem for long hair Bill. Yeah, man, he hasn't been seen in a minute. I need to come on to this stream. I need to just start one of these streams and do that at one point. What long hair Bill used to be for my channel was when I would edit and I would realize that I had said something that then was like blatantly wrong or something like that, or I'd like messed something up. I would sometimes come in as long hair Bill for the editor and then call myself out with it. I haven't done a long hair Bill in a very long time. Not that I don't still make a bunch of mistakes. I'm not an expert, and I never claim to be on any of this stuff here. I'm just talking toys. But like, I haven't done one of those in a long time. Bill, I just saw this. Look it up. Motu Chronicles Scare Glow by Mattel. It's coming out. Just the pics. I was seeing a couple pics of it today. There's a couple of major questions that come with that Scare Glow. One, does that mean that Scare Glow is going to be part of the movie? I will somewhat answer that question right now. No. There's a reason I feel this way. I saw the packaging, and the packaging is not the same packaging that we're about to get with the movie figures, which means Chronicles is already diving into expanded materials. So we are doing both the movie and some more classic things right off the bat. And it looks like we're doing a G.I. Joe classified kind of attitude. Like, that is very blatantly Scare Glow. But it's not. And it's not a bad thing. I'm saying he is Scare Glow. Nobody would put that past him. They'd look right at him and go, oh, that's Scare Glow. But it almost looked like a new age amalgamation of ideas for Scare Glow. Kind of like how New Eternia was playing with an idea of taking like the sketch art and the stuff that we know and kind of combining them and saying, here you go, this is a cool thing. And it was a cool thing. There's a lot of cool New Eternia. Except for She-Ra. But like, now we got this Scare Glow from Chronicles. And it looks good. Like, it looks really good. I also was not expecting its scale to be what it was. That kind of impressed me. And just to say, I was a little confused at a comment that I heard in a video where one of the guys showing off the toys takes the new He-Man and takes his arm and puts it back and grabs the sword and says, "This is the first He-Man ever that can unsheath his sword." That is incorrect. That's incorrect. It's 100% false. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000% false. We have had multiple He-Man now where the sword on the back and like the hole where you put the sword is angled and you can get this. I think Anniversary He-Man can do it. Now, he can't pull the sword all the way out and then flip it up. It can't. That's not possible. However, when they were showing it on that video, that Chronicles guy couldn't do it either. Because he started pulling it and the sword started like bending because you can't. It is cool to have a sword on your back. But anybody that has ever taken a sword class, I did not take many, I do not claim to be an expert, but I used to practice with a group that did Renaissance fairs type things, and they did sword combat, and I trained with them a little bit to kind of do a show or two with them at our Ren fair that we do. Well, not we do, they don't do it here anymore, but we used to have a Ren fair that used to happen around here. And I trained with them to do a couple of battles in the Ren fair. You cannot take a sword off your back like that. It doesn't work. Your arm is not long enough. It's not realistic. A full-size sword, actually sheathed, held in position on your back so that you cannot move it, you cannot take the sword out. You can't do it. You're a dead man. You can get and then you got to kind of do like a thing. And there is a way to do it, but it's a fancy trick. There was a lot of guys that when they took a sword off their back, there was a very specific way that they did it, where they kind of grabbed the actual sheath and then they grabbed the sword and they pulled at the same time, and it kind of gave an illusion, but it's not actually, they weren't actually pulling it off their back. If their sword is on their back and it's like on a brace thing on their back, it's not possible. You can't, you don't have the arm to do it, is what I'm telling you. I learned that. That's a very real thing. You can't do it. But because of that, that video made me laugh. I don't know. I felt the opportunity to talk about that video. I laughed about it. But big butts. If we are already doing a scare glow, and it already looks like they're going to take a classified line kind of feel to it, like update the figures and give us something, because that is not, like, I heard a lot of people complain about Masterverse. Masterverse wasn't doing that. Masterverse was releasing very specific figures. Anniversary He-Man, built like the original toy, updated, that's what that was. When it said Revelation on the bottom, and people were like, I don't like this He-Man, it's not like the He-Man that I grew up with, this He-Man is wrong, his face is wrong, and blah, blah, blah. That's not the He-Man you grew up with. That's Revelation He-Man. And it was supposed to look like a cartoon, and that's what they were going for, and that's what they released. So you bought something under a false pretense. It's not their fault. Chronicles almost looks like, from that scare glow, that they're going to do what this line did, and they're going to update them. That could be cool. I don't know what to expect from that, but that could be cool. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's coming. Of course, we don't. But I'm very curious now. Because one of the things that I said when they released them, and they showed the new figures, and I was talking about the bodies and everything. One thing I need to see is, it's one thing for them to show off the bodies for the movie figures, okay? But let's be honest about something. We don't know how those bodies are going to work for classic designs. And the reason I say that is because this line right here. See how serious that is? That's how serious it is. It's so serious, this camera zoomed in for me to tell you about that line up there. Back up. When they do MCU figures, the MCU figures do not move or look like the comic book inspired figures. They don't. I have not gone crazy on buying MCU figures, but there is a difference in the way that they feel and they move compared to the comic figures in the way that they feel and they move. Which makes me say, if we're releasing movie figures on those bodies, do those bodies lend themselves better to the proportions that we would get with a more classic figure look? Or do they not? And is it going to be a problem when they start releasing the others? Or are we going to see multiple body designs, which could be a problem in its own right? I have no idea. I am interested, though. Very interested in the future of Motu toys. I mean, because of course I am. But, like, what's coming? I'm very curious. I'm very curious what this is going to be, and if this is going to be like a whole new, like, am I about to become one of those guys that go, I already have a Battle Cat. I have like 4 of these. I already have a Battle Cat. And realistically, aside from the head, which very much feels like what they did was they learned from the Panther that they released, because that's kind of the head that they're using with the glass eyes and the jaw that actually like releases the teeth and whatnot, instead of the jaw that they used for the first one. I didn't see any articulation that I didn't already see here. Like, they were really trying to talk it up about the articulation for like their Battle Cat, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, even look at the paws. I'm just saying. I'm not 100% sold when you're trying to when you're trying to talk up something that like is already in the line. I don't hate it, but I need to see it. I will probably buy the first wave because I need to see it. But I'm really looking forward, not to the movie guys, they look fine. What I'm really looking forward to is the first wave of actual Motu figures. That is what has my interest. Have I decided... Oh, did that not work? Have I decided if I'm going to get the G.I. Joe crossover figures? I don't think so. But these also look like they're kid toys. So if the price is right, which they very well could come out to be fairly cheap figures, I probably will. Not all of them, I guess, to be fair. I don't know. I got to look at it. Like I said, I don't know that they'll really ever get me to buy another. Like, it's going to take a lot. But I do like the idea of like a Snake Eyes Leo, because I grew up in a time when they did all kinds of wild turtle stuff, like turtles in space and turtle. Like, they did crossover stuff all the time. There's a Conan turtle. Like, he's very expensive. I'm never going to own one. But yeah, so like, I am interested, but I don't know. Well, guys, it is 8. I gotta get some stuff together. But we do have to do one more thing. It's minor, but we have to do it. It just dawned on me. No. The vendor that I bought from gave me a warning, actually. And so I'm going to heed that warning real quick and see where it takes me. When I bought everything at the convention, the guy who sold me this told me that how he obtained all of these was he bought a lot, like a toy lot, and he got a whole bunch of stuff. And he had a couple guys come back to him and specifically say, he said he had 2 guys come back to him. I said a bunch. He had 2 guys come back to him and say that the Joes that they bought in the closed boxes, there was nothing in them. Or they had the wrong thing in them or whatever, which was a big problem back when all these were happening. So I am going to open this right now. And I don't have any stories or anything to tell with this. I bought this for a different purpose altogether. There's a reason I bought this. So this will not be like one of the normal chapters that I break it down and I have a story to tell and everything. So this is the scrap iron and anti-armor drone. It looks very cool. I hope this is actually in here. I knew I wanted this. At $30, I definitely wanted it. At $25, I was 100% sold. Years ago, and you could see this on my What It's Like to Be a 40-Year-Old Collector video, I talk about the idea that for a while there, keeping toys in my life was doing photography and diorama sets, as well as using them for like storyboarding and things of that nature. And part of me misses some of that. And Joes are a real easy way to do this. when I saw that this guy was a thing, and he has a rocket launcher thing, and then he has explosions and missiles and smoke trails, and like the fact that the Hulk came with a missile that he can pull apart, it made me go, oh man, it would be real cool to have like some soldiers shooting at the Hulk or trying to take down Spider-Man or something like that, like some bad guys doing bad guy scenes. And that made me go, I want that. Like, I want to see if I can do anything with that. So here it is. Hopefully it's actually in here. And if it is, I can use this for photography. And that's the real only main purpose that I bought this for, was photography purposes. So this feels promising. It doesn't feel like anything's missing. I'm seeing packaging and everything like that. This, I'm almost positive that this is right. I know normally I mute the mic to open, but because this is a special case and I need to guarantee some stuff. Oh, well then fantastic. Fantastic. There he is. If I'm going to say a couple of things about him, oh my gosh. That is beautifully horrific. That's what I'll say. Let me get him in here. Like, his face is messed up, man. Like, this guy's seen real days. Like, oh my God, his side of his head is all like burned up and everything. That's cool. Like, that's some harsh detail. He's got like scratch marks on the other side of his head and everything. He looks rough, which is actually really cool. And then the tank is going to be neat. The little portable tank thing that shoots the missiles. And that's what I wanted him for. I wanted him for that purpose, was that he could shoot missiles at the Hulk and stuff like that. And I have him. And there's really not much else to go into about, is just to say that I have him. So now I can start using his explosions and whatnot in a couple of pictures that I have planned. But yeah. That's it. I don't really have anything else for this show. I think that we've talked and we've done what we're going to do. I realize we've only been opening like 2 characters here and there and whatnot, but I'm working on that. It's a lot right now. We're trying to get a new car and get some things fixed. We're trying to get like our movements and whatnot put down. And right now I'm not even getting home till sometimes 6:30. And then, of course, by the time I get home and I eat and I get here, and it's already 6:30, if not 7 o'clock by the time the stream starts, and I got to guarantee at least part of my night to get some stuff together so that I can get ready for work in the morning. It's not the simplest thing, but that is being worked on. I think we are going to try to keep this as a Monday, but we've just got to figure it out. It'll take us time to get the movement of everything. But as long as our shows have been doing that, I'm hoping I can get the chapters running easier. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. I will, of course, be back next Monday, and I will post videos throughout the week if I have the opportunity to do so. Catch you later.